Any hope for reconciliation between King Charles, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle seems to be dead and buried after the couple's latest trip to Nigeria reportedly infuriated the king. Sky News All Stars Rita Panahi, Mollard and Sophie Elsworth delve into the latest royal family controversy, explaining why King Charles will never forgive Prince Harry. The relationship between King Charles and the Sussexes is now very clearly beyond repair. After years of backstabbing and undermining the royal family by his son and daughter-in-law, King Charles has had enough. And surprisingly, it was Harry and Meghan's latest trip to Nigeria which seemingly pushed him over the edge, says royal expert Pandora Forsyth.
This is a little bit of a slap in the face for the royal family because they said that they wanted a private life and they wanted to be getting on with their own things. Whereas a royal tour, they essentially just did one without the royal status attached to it and created headlines all around the world. So many people might see it as a missed opportunity, but many people also see it as a dig at the royal family.
Sky News All-Star Sophie Elsworth agrees, saying King Charles was deeply unhappy with the trip and furious that it so closely resembled a royal tour.
Speaking of which, Sophie, and off the back of what Pandora said, the criticism of the Sussexes' visit to Nigeria, that does continue. We understand the royal family were very unhappy with the royal veneer of that trip. Is that correct?
Well, that's what the reports are saying, Caroline, that they were deeply unhappy with this trip to Nigeria that looked like, sounded like, it felt like a royal tour, and they are no longer royals. So they're carrying on as if they're still well and truly part of the royal family. And this is definitely getting people offside. They were touring around Nigeria, visiting charities and schools and so forth, injured servicemen. And this is really making it a mixed message as to what they are actually trying to achieve. They want one foot in the royal camp, but they want one foot out of it as well. And you can't have it both ways.
However, many commentators are slamming Prince Harry's hypocrisy when it comes to his checkered relationship with his father. Prince Harry was reportedly shattered after King Charles bestowed Prince William with a new military honour. However, Adoni Media founder and managing director Lisa Goddard argues Prince Harry can't expect military honours to be bestowed upon him after stepping away from royal duties.
I just want to finish up on something that I find wryly amusing. And that is a little bit of consternation among the royals because the King Charles, has handed over a very prestigious title to his son and heir in Prince William. He's now been named the Colonel-in-Chief of the Helicopter Air Corps. And fair enough, the guy's going to be king someday, William. And Stephen, but the word on the street is that his little brother, the spare, is a bit miffed because he actually flew a helicopter in battle in Afghanistan.
Well, yeah, look, he did, and I admire his service, and that's one of the good legacies that Prince Harry will have. But when you decide you don't want to be a working royal anymore and you want to dump loads on top of your family, this kind of thing's going to happen from time to time.
Yeah, and it's just the system, Lisa. He's got to get over it. The big brother beats him to the gig. I'm afraid that's just it. He's next in line. It's like all my brothers and sisters arguing about who's favourite. It's pointless. We all know my big brother's the favourite.
Well, it falls back into his whinge, isn't it? That he's nothing more than the spare. So again, he's been passed over. And look, I agree with Stephen. He decided to step away from royal duties. You can't then expect to have these sorts of honours bestowed upon you. It should be, rightly so, the next heir to the throne. So
Indeed.
I don't think he should take umbrage with that. But I do find it interesting that the media said it was the burn.
And it seems the Nigeria trip was merely the final nail in the coffin for King Charles. Even prior to the Not Royal Tour, King Charles was fed up with his wayward son, snubbing him during his visit to London to mark the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games, explains Sky News All Stars Rita Panahi and Darren Grimes.
Now let's talk a little bit about Prince Harry. He is in London, but there will be no family reunion, with King Charles rejecting a meeting with his prodigal son. He's too busy to catch up. What do you make of this, Darren? They were both out and about in London, but couldn't spare 5 minutes to have a coffee?
I think it shows the extent to which that relationship has been severely damaged. You know, they used to be really rather close indeed. In fact, the roles were reversed. You know, he was closer to Prince Harry than Prince William. Now, what I would say to this is, on a human level, dare I say, I find it quite sad. Yes, Rita, you'll be surprised to learn I do have a heart. But on a purely, you know, if we look at it on a level of analysing the individuals at play here, Prince Harry is over here to promote the Invictus Games. It's a great initiative, and you know, I don't for 1 second doubt that. But what I would say is, if you've got time to go over to Nigeria and have a Nigerian wax lyrical about how Meghan Markle supposedly has ancient links to that land, and you're talking about how she's a warrior princess, you've got time to do all of these things, but not to meet your father who has cancer. I mean, that to me suggests something really, really quite awful here. You know, they used to be close. Your father, I hope the king is well, but you know, we have
Darren,
absolutely no understanding of that.
I think it's the king who's rejecting this meeting. That's certainly what the Sussex PR machine put out. They're the ones who let the world know that a meeting wasn't going to happen. They put out a statement saying that the king was too busy, and the Duke understands that his father's diary is full. But what's been interesting there, that Jacqueline Magnay reports in The Australian, that as soon as that statement was released, it was counterproductive for Prince Harry, because the talkback lines and readers' comments on newspapers were all full of support for Charles distancing himself from Prince Harry. So it shows you that not only is the king reluctant to forgive Harry, but the British public are in no mood to forgive him either.
And Meghan and Harry are fighting wars on multiple fronts, with their once close friendship with the Beckhams disintegrating, just like their relationship with the royal family did, according to Sky News All-Star Angela Mollard.
Eyebrows were raised this week when Charles appeared to find time for the Beckhams, but not Harry.
This is really interesting, because this was clearly not announced. The Beckhams and the Palace didn't announce it. It's been somebody's leaked it to the Times, and it's subsequently been followed up everywhere else. So this was a private meeting on Friday, which was the morning that Harry left London. David Beckham is apparently very interested in the King's Foundation, that charitable foundation of the King's. But I think this is really interesting, because if you remember, David Beckham is very old school royals. He queued for 13 hours when the Queen died to be able to pay his respects. We also know that there's no longer any love between the Beckhams and the Sussexes, despite the fact that the Beckhams were invited to the Sussexes' wedding. Subsequent to that, we know the Sussexes have accused the Beckhams of leaking stories to the press. Meghan was apparently not particularly happy that the Beckhams were very good friends with William. So that splinter there, but it won't have felt comfortable for Harry, knowing that his father had time for the former English football captain, but not for his son.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in another humiliating blow for the Sussexes, as if feuding with high-profile families and friends wasn't enough, Harry and Meghan are contending with serious issues in their Archewell charity foundation.
And Pandora, the dramas just seem to continue. So can you tell us about this issue with the Archewell Foundation, which hit the news in a really big way this week?
Yeah, so the Archewell Foundation was set up when Harry and Meghan left the UK to go to California. And a lot of their charity work is through this foundation. Now, this week, it was public knowledge, as it's on public record. For them, unfortunately, they were handed a delinquency notice. This is due to the fact that a cheque apparently had gone missing in the post or wasn't delivered. And this was on public record and hit all of the headlines. This is now apparently being cleared up and a new cheque has been sent in the post. But this is not the press that they need off the back of the Nigeria tour, and they just don't seem to have the luck, unfortunately. But you would think for something of such a foundation which is set up in such a public domain, you would think something like this just should not be happening, whether that be careering the cheque if possible, but leaving it just post to hope that it's going to get there on time. It's not a good look, but apparently now it has been sorted, and the governor of California has said that it was all a bit of a technical mishap and people need to move on.
But royal biographer Angela Levin says the Sussexes have no one to blame but themselves for their messy personal and business lives.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is royal biographer and commentator Angela Levin. Angela, welcome back to the show. And I'm going to ask you the same question I posed to my panel earlier. With Harry and Meghan celebrating their 6th wedding anniversary, how, over that period of time, did it go so wrong?
Yes, I mean, it's very upsetting, but it's their fault entirely. I had the good fortune of being one of the few presenters of the wedding, and I can tell you it was one of the best days of my life. 4 a.m. till 10 p.m. The sun was shining. I was so happy because I had written a biography of Prince Harry, that he'd found someone who didn't mind having a picture taken by the press and was now really in love. And I thought it was just wonderful. It should be wonderful within the palace because she could be very helpful with having modern ideas and different ideas. But actually discovered that Meghan won't be told anything. She has to win. She has to be out there in the front. I've been told that she expected to go immediately with the Queen on engagements and to tell her how to modernise it all. Now, anyone would know. You don't go to a new company yourself and expect to be running it within 5 minutes. You have to learn, you have to absorb. There's a change of country, change of friends, change of job, and she didn't want to know about that. And I think since they've been trying to smash the royal family down to prove that they're better, that they're more modern and that they're more interesting. I think it's an absolute tragedy. They've made themselves unpopular. I don't think you wash your family linen in public. Many, many people have thought that about them. And to start criticising them in a harsh, unforgiving way has made them lose their popularity.